Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a little side piece to the rundown, as this Monday we will be discussing the entire season that was and also the playoffs going forward. But because, we like to keep an interview, and because, truth be told, they are one of my favourite teams in Uniball, had to get some of the Leeds Gryphons on today, and that is exactly who we're talking to. So, gentlemen, introduce yourselves for me, please.
So I'm Matty. I am a centre. I've been at Leeds Gryphons for 2 years now. It's my second season, and much different season, a better season.
Yes, I'm Ewan, one of the oldest members of the team. Been here for 4 years. So I was here pre-COVID in that team, which won Division 1. And then I played through with Prem, and now back in Division 1. But yeah, I play corner. Part of Gryphons for a long time. Hopefully for a lot longer.
Fly Gryphons fly.
So obviously this is as much on the rundown, we like to try and construct these narratives. You have to say that Leeds Gryphons have got one of the better ones. Relegated from the Premiership, did not win a game, unfortunately, boys. Sorry to bring it up, but that's the case. However, they've come straight back down into Division 1 and won every single game, swept the Borders, won champions. They're going to be hosting the Edinburgh Predators on Sunday. So we're just going to get into it a little bit. So this might be a very sort of broad question in terms of the story of the Leeds Gryphons so far. What happened last year?
Do you want to start with the year before?
Yeah. So I was on committee that year, so I was secretary. Came into the year, so pretty much most of our players who took us to Division 1 weren't really there anymore. So we lost pretty much our core kind of team. We basically had like 5 or 6 players from that Div 1 winning team in 2019, and probably 1 or 2 of them were starters, and they came back. And then we kind of recruited well. We think we recruited a lot of players. We had probably around 80 members, so we thought we did really well. But we only played about 2 players from that rookie class who'd played before. So we went into the first game against Beckett, and I mean, we must have had about 5 players.
Yeah, I think they had more scholars than we had players. Yeah. We had like non-rookie players.
So. Yeah, so they had more. We think they had more scholars than we've had actual players who played an actual competitive down of American football. So after that game, we realised we were in for a
fun long season.
Fun long season. But I mean, we all stayed pretty positive throughout the season. I mean, we were probably 0-6, travelling back from Stirling, just having a great time on the bus, and still being probably one of the best teams. And I mean, we got commended by, I think Jason Scott even said to our head coach how he wanted like the ethos we had around our team of just like playing for each other, because we knew we were going to lose when we played Nottingham. We knew we were going to lose. It was going to happen. But we had that attitude where we fought to the end, and we really did play well. But we did go 0-8.
Yeah, I think that's also like the recruitment last year as well. Yeah, because we had so many rookies. I mean, it's difficult to get like recruit a lot of players anyway. Yeah. But for us to then like keep the players to then come into this season, even though we lost every game, you think that quite a few would drop out because they don't enjoy it. But once we got past that and really got that team spirit together, I think that's like literally the reason why we've bounced back this season, is because everyone wants to be there, because we're just mates that play American football at the end of the day.
And Tebbs, we're used to getting battered in the Prem. So coming down to Div 1 Borders, I mean, I think a lot of the including yourself. I mean, you were a first year, you've never played before, and you went to Div 1 and you were like, had no clue what it was going to be like, and realised
you're going up against like Nottingham D linemen, and you're just there like, is this fun? Am I enjoying this kind of thing?
And then you realise that people are your size in Div 1.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot nicer.
You can actually play, especially from offense perspective. I think last year was just like the most demoralising like thing you could ever experience. Making sure you can't like do any plays you want to do, because they will just ball rush you and you'll just get flattened.
One touchdown, I think.
I think 1 touchdown and a safety. I think
two safeties
last year.
Good stats. Good stats there.
Defense nearly outscores the offense. So but then coming down this year to then absolutely just demolishing the league really. And,
had a great time.
Yeah, picking up a lot of like doing plays we want to actually do, and especially last year we had a lot of mixing around in the like hierarchy of the club. I mean, we got rid of an OC, and now we've probably got one of the best coaching staffs, and
we like to think
best coaching staffs in the country. With 4, they got their rings yesterday for Manchester Titans. So our head coach Bo and Connor and who else? Claudia, running back coach, and then also some of the players like Lance as well.
Yeah, they play for Titans.
We've got a good, and also their GB experience as well is so valuable, and that's really the reason why we're able to play our own game and really control the game and control our league in the end.
Yeah, we're quite happy this year.
Yeah,
I think so.
So in terms of just the mentality of the players, as well as sort of the change in level of competition, has anything else sort of changed? Is there like one spark that you saw at the end of last season? People on committee, the coaches just went, we need to harness this and go forth into Division 1 and basically put our foot down and prove to everyone that last year is not indicative of the Leeds Gryphons.
I think we played Beckett first, we played Beckett last. And I think we just kept Beckett to like, it was 30-something nil, but like we kind of thought like when we're playing against these teams, these really good Prem teams, we saw improvement in ourselves. And as freshers, they really saw that improvement. And I think on the last day of the season when we played Beckett and we kept them to like not a 50-0, not a 45-0. It sounds ridiculous, I know, but when we kept them to that, we thought was a really good score for us. And like we were really we finished the season, we went to the Super Bowl that night and we had a real big piss up, had a great fucking night. And like we used that momentum and used that kind of energy of like we do that well. And we sometimes talk about it in training when we held Beckett, so Beckett in the goal line situation, stuff like that. And I think when you say like we gave it our all against these amazing teams and now we're going down to play again in the Borders, but it's a good division still. I think that pushed us on and made us believe we could do it.
Yeah, I think we had like a committee meeting just like at the beginning of this season and almost towards the end. Well, the end of last season we had a bit, but it was about like just changing everything at the club from even down to like the stuff we arrived to going to games. Like we're all now got like all of our merch and we're looking like a proper established team. And I think that's what we really wanted to like carry on throughout the season. Anything from really like I'm social media committee member, so I'm running all the socials and everything like that, just to changing it up and looking like a really different thing that people are proud to put on their stories, to set like their Instagram stories to show all their mates and stuff. Something like what's it called? Something to be proud of, really.
Yeah, socials as well, you could say.
Yeah, socials as well.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't stopped those. They were really good in the Prem, I think.
Yeah,
I think we will probably.
That's probably what kept us going.
Yeah, I think the socials.
It prompts an interesting question actually in terms of the social side of it and teams on a higher level, because it's something that that has been sort of debated between myself and Dylan off air. That is there still a as big of a social side in these higher level teams, in the sense of just basically going out on a Wednesday? Like for us, that seems, especially when you look at these higher teams that have these athletes, it seems like, do they do that? Obviously, they probably don't, not market it. They don't show it particularly more. But is that still a thing that happens at the Premiership level and at a Division 1 level when you are 0-8?
It did happen last year. But I don't think that accounted to why we lost. Why our record was 0-8.
Yeah.
But this season, we still have the same socials, and we still enjoy it. But we still turn up to Thursday sessions ready to go and really want to work for the weekend.
Yeah, we got training on Thursdays.
That's rough.
Yeah, we have training on Thursdays, but we kind of, our coach always tells us, you just got to turn up, really.
Yeah.
It's always turn up, not too hungover. And it's quite amusing on the Thursday because you get hear about where everyone ended up in the club on Wednesday and all that sort of thing. And we social every Wednesday consistently.
I would say that the other Prem teams definitely don't as much as us, as much as we did last year. Don't think Beckett went out on a Wednesday, or if they did, not all of their team did. Yeah. Especially those people that are pushing like the scholars and pushing the club forward.
I think we had a less of a. I think because when you have a lot of scholars, they're kind of there for a bit more of a professional reason. They're there like to play American football, whereas a lot of us we're playing American football. We also here to have fun. I know someone who plays on the Beckett team, and I know for a fact they didn't drink on the bus back from Stirling. And I mean, our bus back from Stirling away last year was very messy.
Yeah.
How many hours is it?
It's like 4 or 5.
4, 5. I think it was
4
5
services.
With 5 hours Carlisle services.
Carlisle services, which you've all got to the border special. Going up to Carlisle services.
I tell you what, this is just a side point, but on the way back from Plymouth for me last week, they said no drinking on the bus. And this is about a 3-hour bus journey. criminal.
They started doing that to us as well.
The rugby team have
ruined it for us.
Honestly, mate, it's exactly the same for me. So moving on to sort of the more coaching side of things. Is having coaches that have got that championship experience now with Manchester helping a lot, because they now know what it takes to have a championship caliber team, especially in what is extensively the highest level of British American football in the entire country?
Definitely. I don't think you can like understate it as much as you possibly can. It's just that turning up to games and getting your helmet on and really getting into that zone. And they will tell us throughout the week what we're expecting. When we're doing scout, they'll see the things that most people who just have a passion for American football just won't see. And then we're able to like harness and exploit that. And that's where we really show what we're worth.
Yeah, I'd say ROC is Manchester Titans O-line and GB Women's O-line coach. And then our DC was DC of Yorkshire Rams last year. So really experienced coaches. And they're still with us now. And I just feel like our prep for like on a Thursday when we go through scout is just really good. And I just feel like that sort of thing that's not talent.
No.
That is literally preparation. And we have a big, on Thursdays it is offense help our defense help our offense. It's a big thing for us. But I think our coaches really do help. Having people who've won stuff. I mean, Christian, our DC, is a level 2 coach. He's one of the few in the country, I think.
Yeah.
So it's just really good to have that experience, and also they're really nice.
Yeah, they're not bad.
They take our shit chat. They somehow deal with my shit chat. I don't know how they do it. They just about hang about with it. But yeah, it's really nice to have them. And Bo's obviously.
Yeah, she's the best.
Bo's obviously GB captain for women, so she's.
They also understand. They also understand like it'd be hard for them to then turn up at like some of our training sessions and be like, I'm expecting something like Manchester Titans would have in their training sessions.
Yeah,
I think they also understand that we are uni students at the end of the day, and that's also more valuable than what they're teaching us. Is that we're here to have a fun time as well.
Yeah, we do have a good laugh.
Then before we sort of move on to, the 2022-2023 season, was one of the leading factors in the sort of lack of success last year, was it a COVID issue? As we've spoken to Leicester Longhorns quarterbacks coach recently, and they had very much the exact same thing with you, except obviously Div 2 to Div 1, going up to a different division. COVID happens. Then they go completely winless, come straight back down. Was it very much the same for you? And do you feel as though that, everything's sort of been alleviated now that we're, years past from having a year off?
I would say we have that same problem. I just think for us, we're at the moment at Leeds, we don't have scholars. Okay, like we don't have funding for scholars. Okay, that's just how we are. Like we get quite a lot of postgrads who've played before because Leeds is just a very good uni, so we just recruit people anyway. But that's all the recruitment we really get. So when you have when you have like 2 years worth of rookies who haven't really had any chance to play, and then 2 years worth of people graduating, you're just basically playing with rookies for us. And it was a COVID issue and a kind of lack of funding issue, which we've always had that level of funding though. But we can't. We struggle to compete with the teams with scholars who obviously probably had the same issue with COVID recruitment, but could recruit 10 or so British people and 5 or so Americans.
I think when you look at the long-term program we had in place before COVID, there was really we were one of the best, most up-and-coming teams in American football. Yeah. And if that team were to go into the Prem, there was a high chance that they would have stayed up.
Yeah, they were a really good team.
And then when I would have come in, because obviously I came in as a rookie last year, I remember that the first game I played, I think it was Nottingham at home, and on the Thursday,
away, wasn't it? It was
Nottingham away, yeah. On the Thursday before, I had to learn how to snap the ball and then go into play centre. And you would have thought
that's the level that we're talking about.
You would have thought that for a rookie that you would want them to maybe practice for a few weeks and then have a few reps and then maybe get into the team and start doing it. But in the first game I was going up against, the runners-up.
Jack Brennan,
Yeah, Jack Brennan was going up against
in Europe and America.
Yeah,
and
I was just getting,
our alumni, actually,
putting my snaps everywhere and pretty much counting them touchdowns. But No, yeah, it was.
It's just different. It is like, and you don't want to make an excuse for COVID because everyone has the same. Everyone has the same. COVID affected everyone.
Yeah,
but I think it's just that loss of years it's very difficult when you haven't got scholars in the Prem. I think in Div 1 we probably have been okay.
Yeah, in Div 1 we still probably could have put a good account for ourselves.
Yeah, I think we would have
going up to one where we
wouldn't have gone 8-0. I don't think, but I think we would have definitely
put a good account.
I think we would have done pretty well. But it's Premier League's a different game.
Yeah, it is.
It's so good.
So, sort of with that, then, if you like with Prem being a different game, so you say, let's cast our minds forwards, and let's say that it all goes perfectly for Leeds, and you find yourself in the Prem next year. What do you feel like is going to aid the success of the Leeds Gryphons if/when they taste the Premiership again, like let's say next year?
I think we recruited well this year in the sense that we've got players that have really come into the team and grown into their positions, and that will be really valuable for years to come as well. And also just first of all experience in the fact that we are used to winning now and we're not going to stop. And trying to bring that attitude into the Prem.
That's the attitude we try our hardest. And I just think obviously we tried for funding and we can try our best, but I feel like compared to that team which was in the Premiership last year, if we went up, and it's a big if we go up this year, I just think that this team would be a lot more prepared.
Yeah, definitely.
In terms of
and there's more
stability
as well
and
in the club.
So much, we've got such more stability at coaches.
But
I think we'd be more settled. I think,
and there's the belief as well. I think we believe that we would do well, whereas last year I think it was written off from first snap.
I think if you win Div 1, I mean you've got to tell yourself you deserve to be in the Prem. I guess.
We earned it. So
because you believe, because I don't think we believe we earned it.
No,
because it wasn't that team which earned it, which was playing in the Prem. It's just 4 or so players, and I was one. It wasn't the same team. I'll tell you that.
So to sort of move on to let's take our minds out of last year and move on to a lot more positive things. Obviously, it's been a joy to sort of watch it, because as much as sometimes I try not to tell myself this, I am in American football media, and obviously American football media, we love to sort of create these narratives that we can then throw out to the audience, and the Leeds Gryphons is one which I do like a lot. Obviously, it's to go from 0-8, 8-0 straight back. I'd sorry Loughborough, I would love Leeds to go straight back up just because it would be fantastic.
The sports tank.
So obviously, like the division's cleared out. It's easy. So I would say what was your hardest game? But I feel like I might know, and I think it might move on to a different question later.
I think Glasgow, first game of the season. First game of the season. Away trip to Glasgow. It's never easy on any day, and any game week really. You're having a 4.5-hour trip up.
Yeah, Scottish teams are difficult.
Yeah, and then to go, I mean, it was an awful weather day. The grass, there was. I don't know.
It was a mud bowl, wasn't it?
It was not what we were used to. Even though we were losing in the Prem, it's not what you're used to. So then going there and just having to slog out the victory really. I mean, the lines weren't painted; they painted the lines just before the game, and stuff like that. So we just really needed to.
It was a bit shoestring.
Yeah, we just really needed to get that first victory under our belt, and then from then I think it was much easier.
Yeah, I think it was that first victory we needed for confidence-wise, and also Glasgow are a good team. Glasgow, we respect Glasgow and Edinburgh.
They're very underrated as well.
They are an underrated team, but with Glasgow and Edinburgh, Scottish teams are always difficult to play. Especially for us when we're travelling, we have to get up at ridiculously early.
Especially when they set an 11 o'clock
and they
put
a ridiculously early kickoff.
Is that true?
No, but he's
exaggerating. I think it was a 2 o'clock kickoff, but even then you've still got to get there for 12, which means
But that game was 6-6 at one point.
Yeah, it was 6-6.
It was 6-6.
So.
No, it was 6-6 in the third quarter. We were 6-0 at half time. And it could, that sort of thing can go either way at that point. But we pulled it out. But
ever since then, though, I don't think we really had a game where I'd be we've had moments in the games where they're like, you're drawing and you're there like, right, we really need to score on this next drive. But once you would then get that confidence of scoring on the next drive, we would then put 3 or 4 more touchdowns in the game on, and then by the end of it, the game will be like, oh well, that seems like it was an easy victory.
I just think with that Glasgow game, that was probably one of the few points in the season where we thought we could, that game could have gone the other way, but it didn't, and luckily.
And now we're sitting here 8-0.
So now we're quite happy. But we think Glasgow and Edinburgh are good teams.
Yeah, Glasgow and Edinburgh, I'd definitely say they're the ones that gave us probably the most competition. Edinburgh, they've got a good program and they've got some good, strong players.
Yeah, their coaches are lovely as well.
Yeah.
So,
and then for the other 2 teams, maybe less.
Northumbria, good fun.
Northumbria, good fun.
We like a beer. We like Northumbria. Hull,
we'll get on to the Hull, but this is perfect what you're talking about. So obviously you've made the playoffs, number 1 seed, very, I'm sure, very, very nice. So you're talking about that travel because your first round opponents are the Edinburgh Predators. They've got to make that. They've got to make that journey down to you again. Do you think it is going to be easier or tougher because they'll effectively know you better than a team, say, in a different division? But would you say it's easier or tougher playing a divisional opponent in the first round of the playoffs?
We don't want to say it's easier because we don't want to jinx ourselves. But I think it is nice playing an offense we know. We only played them like 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was 2-3 weeks ago.
We only played them like 2 weeks ago. It's an offense. Well, for me, it's offense we know. It's a defense you know. And it's a team we know we've beaten pretty comfortably twice.
Yeah.
Which is nice compared to if you played someone like Warwick or LJMU. I think they're 7 and 6 seed. Or even Manchester, who just missed out. That's a bit of an unknown, and you could get a bit more nervous. Whereas I think
they're coming to prove themselves. Yeah. Whereas at the end of the day, we've already put points on Edinburgh, and we already know what they're about. And we know we can do it.
I think we're a bit more confident playing a team we've already beat,
and we've already watched their film. We've already scouted them.
I'm going to say Edinburgh are a good team. Like we really respect. We respect every team. Until we beat them, but I still respect Edinburgh. I think they're a decent team. So we're very respectful to Edinburgh.
And they've got if we set them at 11 o'clock. I mean, what are they waking up at 4 a.m.? No, I think it's 2:30 on Sunday. So 2:30 on Sunday.
Yeah, but Tebbs will come up and watch.
Yeah,
I would love to, but I've got to go and play Reading. So I've got.
That's where I'm from. So.
The Dinger.
Reading. I'm so sorry. I don't too far to say that. I've never been to Reading. I'm sure. I've never been to Reading. I'm sure it's lovely. I genuinely don't know when to go there.
I'm pretty sure, Tebbs, so.
Oh no, I know it's a grass pitch. I know it's a grass pitch because luckily Sport Tank went and filmed them a few weeks ago, which may or may not have contributed to the film sessions. But we can't. I might have to cut that one out. But so in the north, it's been a lot more cut and dry from, I'd say, about week 2 in terms of the teams comparatively to the Division 1 South, where realistically it's been a bit of a since Christmas it's been a little bit of a mess. Sheffield, Hallam, Loughborough, and yourselves were always hovering around the top. It was always 1, 2, and 3, and then a fourth team would be a southern team. Out of those 2 squads, what do you see from like their score lines, or if you've seen any of their teams? Which ones of those? Like basically, are you impressed by both Hallam and Loughborough?
I think Loughborough, obviously their uni is just probably the most athletic uni in the whole of the UK, but they have some real athletes to them. And they've got some big players, and they hit hard, and they know what it's about. Sheffield, I'm not saying no, but
well, Hallam's scores are a bit more interesting than Loughborough. Loughborough seems to just do everyone they play, and we do Loughborough. We had done pre-season kind of scrimmagey thing against Loughborough the last 2 years, so we know how good Loughborough are. They're a really good team. They've got a lot of GB players, and also their coaches are good, and they've got a massive squad.
Yeah, they've got a really big squad.
We really respect Loughborough and Hallam. They're 8-0. We're not going to slag them off.
And we're happy that they're on the other side of the draw.
Yeah, and we're happy we got the 1. So yeah. But we also respect Trent, who is 6-2, have the unfortunately of playing Loughborough twice a year. It's going to be a tough ask.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hallam is interesting because they score a lot of points on good defenses as well. But I mean, they concede a lot more than Loughborough, which is something to think about. But yeah,
I think Hallam would be the easier game. I know it would still be hard, but
yeah, we wouldn't take anything for granted.
I'd rather play them than Loughborough.
Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to say. And Hallam, they've got a good passing offense, and I think they've got your favourite QB, haven't they, Tebbs? Is that true? Or is it
they have, receiver? They have got my favourite QB. But
keeping you on your toes.
It's true. Genuinely, Dan Johnson is a great QB, and he was lucky to be my QB when I played for Caesars last year, or for a little bit anyway.
What we want to say is we respect both those teams a lot, and we're not going to come in and slag any of them off because we think they're both good teams.
That's completely understandable. So within it, do you think that that Leeds may have a bit more sort of the higher level sort of championship experience, which seems to be the only thing that Loughborough are missing? Because sorry to Sheffield, Hallam, sorry to the rest of the field. I would be very, very, very surprised if the last game of the season for you guys in Nottingham on the I want to say the 25th or the 26th is Championship Tuesday. I know it's a Tuesday. Yeah. I think it's the 25th. Let me check that because I've got the date wrong about 4 times.
No, I think.
Is it the 20th or is it the 21st? Am I an idiot? It must be the 21st.
No clue. we take it.
It must be the
21st. We look at the next game. We don't look too far.
Fine. That's completely understandable. Just because, like, I would be surprised if it wasn't Leeds versus Loughborough. No, it won't be Championship. It'll be the week prior on. Yes, it'll be North final. It would be I'd be very surprised if it isn't you versus Loughborough. In that particular scenario, you've got the home field advantage. How much does that play into it, especially from a team that is who aren't in your division, haven't had that experience of coming into Leeds?
I still think they would be up for it. I don't think it changes much in their mentality in the sense that they were always planning ever since we got the first seed. They always know that that's been underlined that they would be coming to us, or well, whoever it would be. Yeah. However, I think we just play it like a normal game, and as we've done that all season, and it's worked. So I don't think there's much difference.
Yeah, I'm sure Loughborough will be completely up for it.
Yeah,
and Loughborough have got some really good players.
Yeah,
and we really appreciate that they're a really good Div 1 team.
Yeah. They've already come up this season as well to us.
Yeah,
during the pre-season.
Yeah, they came up in pre-season and played very well.
Yeah, obviously, yes.
Yeah, but
it's one of those things. It's one of those things.
I'm sure Loughborough will be up for it. I'm sure they'd be up for it. But I think it'd be a good watch.
Competitive.
Yeah, but I mean, we have to beat someone like Trent or Glasgow.
Yeah, exactly.
To get there. So
hopefully Glasgow. We've already played them as well.
Yeah, but
it'd be interesting. Honestly, I again, like later on, say we'll film this on Monday. I'll get into my predictions. I've personally got Nottingham beating Glasgow, especially because Glasgow are coming down, aren't they? Trent are a good team. Yeah. Trent are, I do like Trent. So this is sort of flipping it sort of outside of your division, and it's a 2-pronged one. Obviously, Leeds, you guys came down last year, but then in the south, a team came down from the south in the Swansea Titans. Swansea have done the exact opposite of what you have done. Swansea have gone 0-8 and have now gone straight down to Division 2. Like, was there ever any point where you sort of saw yourselves looking at Swansea and sort of not being able to sort of understand like why that's happened, or started to get worried about, or did it boost your confidence in that, we're just bouncing straight back?
I think it was never really a case of last season being demoralising, or in any part were we there like surprised about it or upset about it, because it seemed like it was kind of inevitable from the beginning of the season. Although we did try to make it happen, but I think that we then set our eyes on this season to really show what we're about. And I mean, we've got a good core of the team, like President Seb and our QB Louis Cooper. They're all wanting us to do well, and we all put all of our pressure last season on this season to come back and show the whole league what we're about.
And I mean, did the Titans go 0-8 last year, Tebbs?
Did they? The Titans, I believe that they did.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be able to say with certainty if they didn't beat someone like UEA once.
Cardiff,
no, sorry, no. Yeah.
Cardiff or something. Yeah. The thing is, like, I think last year, they've, other than UWE, who obviously were national champions, I think the Prem North was probably better than the Prem South because SGS weren't in it that year. And I think Prem North was better than Prem South.
Honestly, you don't have to say you think it was.
Yeah, fair. And I feel like that gives you more experience at playing at a higher level. And I feel like that's what we said earlier. What did us so well this season is getting our experience playing against these players who are really, really good, and then playing against players who aren't as good as that, and then being able to shine and kind of use your experience playing against these best players. I don't know much about the Swansea team. I mean, one of our alumni plays for Bristol, and they beat them twice. I don't know much about the Swansea team, but yeah, it's a bit of a shame that they've struggled because I mean, if it happened to us, that would destroy the program.
It would ruin the club as well. I think that we've got good foundations at the bottom of the club, and at the end of the day, we are dogs, and we showed it, and we've got it this season.
Gosh, to make it such shit chat, man.
Yeah, awful.
Yeah, no, it's funny. We like our fair share of shit chat. Don't worry, Tebbs.
That's good because like you've said something in terms of programs being difficult. The big sort of twist, the team that was in your position, or are now in your position last year. Obviously, you've got a chance. You had a chance to play them last year. Sort of the same question, but in regards to the Stirling Klansmen, like is it a surprise to you as much as anyone, just because of like, you know, people who've been sort of doing Uniball stuff longer than me are very much surprised that this has happened to another team. Also, do you want to hear a conspiracy theory? Cheeky little conspiracy theory. So Swansea went down last year. You went down last year. Now Stirling's down. All your main colours are green and white.
Wow.
Conspiracy.
You found us out.
I found you out. That's it.
We've got a little Instagram group chat with each other. We've made it happen.
But I think in terms of, so Stirling were the second weakest team in Prem North last year, quite comfortably, I'd say. Yeah. When we played Stirling away, we thought, right, this is our one chance to get a game because we were about 0-5.
Yeah.
We had them. I can't remember, but Beckett and Nottingham, and Durham or something like that. We had 3 games left, and one of them was Stirling, and we kind of thought, right, if we're going to win a game, it was today, and we lost like 8-19, which was our best score of the year.
Yeah.
But I think Stirling have a similar issue to us. I think they got all their scholarship funds cut after COVID, I think. So they don't get any new scholars, really.
I don't want to say any claims, but I feel like they had head coach trouble.
Yeah, they struggled. They lost their head coach.
They did, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's like the stability. The stability side of it is like they had everything changing and people were leaving, and it just it's just a disaster.
And I think all their players were graduating. So to be honest, as soon as I saw, I think Newcastle had a few scholars. I did think that Stirling and Newcastle. And Durham, but I did think if I'm honest, we did think Stirling might be in a bit of trouble because they were the weakest team.
The signs were there last year.
Like I feel like they were saved by us. Basically
pretty much.
Last year, and I think you wrote that in one of your things. Basically, Griffins saved the Klansmen. But yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I was going to say, to be fair, that is like true. It's very much in the same vein as you know, I don't even mind saying this. Coventry have been saved again this year by Staffordshire, whereas last year they were saved by Leicester. You know, it very well could be that maybe Coventry need to come down and then come back up because Coventry are a good side. But again, this interview is not about Coventry. So one thing that you've sort of stated earlier in the interview is that Leeds Gryphons haven't got any scholarships comparatively to that of Newcastle, who have stayed up and despite obviously their wins coming against what was that? Sorry, I didn't hear that one.
They only have like one or two. It's nothing on kind of the bigger teams.
Yeah.
But I feel like they've survived with one or two scholars, to be fair to them.
Yeah, they've done a really good job.
But that's it. Like, do you think that what can aid Leeds going forward is perhaps that, or is it simply something that's sort of out of the realm of possibility from what you understand at your positions in the club now? Because it's a very difficult thing to sort of prophesy. It's a difficult thing to prophesize, especially with a team going up into the Prem, because the scholarships are such a large talking point within the Prem, and I'm not going to say that like Loughborough may be the only club that may not can survive without, or like do well in the Prem without scholarships, just due to it being, arguably, I don't even think you can say. I don't think you can say arguably anymore, the best sports university in the country. But basically, is it in the realm of possibility for Leeds? And even if it is or if it isn't, do you think that you can sort of survive in the Prem and stay up there? Obviously, if you get there, because I need to keep saying that.
Yeah. We're not going to say no, because it's definitely in the possibility. But I also think they're a team, they're a really good program, and one that you can look at and go, how did they succeed, and how can we like try and replicate that when going up? Yeah. But I think that division is so difficult, because for a team coming up, I feel like you've probably got maximum 4 games to keep your season going and to stay up. Yeah. Because I mean, you look at Leeds Beckett and you look at Nottingham and you go, unless there is a miracle, there's a high possibility we're going to lose this.
Those teams. I also just think that team in 2019 won Division 1. They didn't play the final against Derby, in all fairness, because of COVID, but by points and by being the #1 seed, they went up. And well, that team I was in, so we went up. And that team had no scholars, and they were, second in the final to win Division 1. And you could arguably say that team deserved to be up, and a lot of that team would have stayed for that COVID year. So I just think you just need really good, like, just kind of bottom up, kind of 3 or 4 years in Division 1, building that team, and
getting players in and getting the old players out and building other players.
Yeah, without scholarship, you can just build really good players.
Yeah, because
we've done that this year.
4 years of experience. There's a lot of footballing time. Really.
Yeah, and then I mean, you can go to Prem and you give it a good go. Yeah. And there's always teams like, I mean, Durham are a good team too, but Durham, Newcastle, Stirling. I mean, you'd have to think you'd give them a go. I have to think that Div 1, that team which won Div 1 in 2019 would have given Stirling a good game, and Durham a better game than we gave them last year. So I think it's just about building that team, and it can be done because that team kind of says it. So yeah, that is a good question.
So sort of as we sort of move away from this and let everyone go for the evening, is there a pressure to keep this winning streak going all the way? Is there obviously there's pressure to win the games, obviously there's pressure to keep going, but is there any added pressure to sort of complete this story that I feel like I've sort of transposed upon the Leeds Gryphons? I don't know.
You're giving yourself a lot of credit. You're giving yourself a lot of credit.
No. I'm going to rephrase the question because you've been on this role, obviously, with that sort of immediate bounce back, is there added pressure to completely just go, yeah, this last year was a fluke, this isn't us? Is there a pressure that's sort of inbuilt into the team more so than there would be if you had been struggling in Division 1 for like a few years?
I think there's a few aspects to that, because we went 0-8 last. No, we didn't go 8-0. We went 0-8 last year, so I feel like it would have been fair enough for people to kind of not expect us to go 8-0 this year and expect us to go 4-4, 3-5, 5-3, and kind of just find our feet again, lose a lot of players from going 0-8. So I think if you sent that to me at the start of the year, I'd have gone, oh no, 8-0 is ridiculous. So I think the pressure's not on there. And also I feel like we're doing so well for each other. And I mean, obviously we haven't lost a game yet. So pressure is on. You obviously don't want to lose. But I feel like, you know, we playing teams like Loughborough, we know how good they are.
I don't think the pressure's coming from internal, really. I don't think we feel that as a team that there's a bit of pressure there, because at the end of the day, we're trusting the process. We're trusting what our coaches say, and they will take us to where we should be. So I think it's more the outside pressure coming in kind of thing.
And we are who we are. Like, you know, we can only play as good as we can play as a team. And if certain teams are better than that on a day, then, you know, it's upsetting for us, but fair enough. You know, we'll take that on the chin and come back next year and give it our all. But yeah, you know, playoffs are tough. Playoffs can tough. You know, freak results can happen. You know, people can play bad, things like that. But yeah, we're just going to give it our all.
Definitely.
I think as a team, we feel like we can do well this weekend against Edinburgh at least. We won't talk about the next rounds. We'll take it one week at a time. But you know, the top four
completely understandable. I'm the exact same way. I don't think about it next week. So, as this can be the last question, and you may say that I've saved the best till last, all the worst till last. There's a team in your division, an infamous team, a team that is something. Just I feel like this doesn't need a long sort of drawn out soliloquy into the question, but just Hull.
Yeah, you know, they've got a lot to say about us for some reason.
Especially when we saved their season. We could have sent them down to Div 2 and they could be in there right now.
Take them number 3 seed and sent them down to Div 2, but we didn't. I don't know. I don't know what kind of circus they're running on their social media, to be honest.
They're a good laugh. And
they're quite funny when you're with them.
But they're a bit loud for where they are in the league.
I don't know what they were calling you. On Wednesday, did they say we were frauds or something?
We fraud our way to number 1 seed. Well, they frauded their way to staying in the division. And I mean, they got good players. They got good personalities.
They got a few good players and good personalities.
But we did outscore them in their first game against them. Then they got all season. So I think that says it all, really. I don't want to spend too much time and give them much airtime. So
no, that's completely fair. But I just, I said that I'd be begrudged not to sort of ask it, especially after last week. But with that, sort of my questions have run dry, and the only thing I can say is it's sort of been a pleasure to sort of watch the team sort of go straight back up, and I do wish you the best of luck for the playoffs. If anything, not just to try and prove myself right. But
we need the Tebbs up in Leeds soon.
Again, this is what I've been saying to teams. I will come to playoff games, but I'm in the playoffs. I need to.
So we're sporting Reading this weekend now.
I need to deal with my stuff first, and then I'll go.
Well, we appreciate you having us on.
Thanks.
Letting us talk and enjoy
show what the Leeds Gryphons are about. Really.
Exactly. Show what we're about.
Go on with that, everyone. Thank you for joining us for a little special edition of the rundown with the Leeds Gryphons. Goodbye, and I'll see you on Monday.